Hello everyone, this is going to be a new video about a cool feature that we found out about how to optimize pivot function or the native pivot function of the Power Query. So we had a client that had a problem with a huge table that needed to be pivoted upon a certain column. And when we tried the usual pivot option, the Excel started to hang. So we tried all those different kind of solutions. We tried to somehow introduce a faster way to optimize this pivot. And after several tries and mistakes, we found a way to optimize this pivot function. And today we will be showing you this cool trick on how to do it. So let's get started. First, this is the table representing our data. It's a small one, but for the sake of the presentation. So what we are going to do, we will use this description column to pivot upon it, and the values are inside of this value column. So what we would usually do, we would move this data to the pivot, to the Power Query, and then we would select description, use the transform tab, and we will use the pivot column, and we would choose to pivot upon the value column, and under the advanced options, we would choose do not aggregate. Our feature, our new function works only with this type of data aggregation. So in case you need to sum the data or ponder it by any other kind, this feature or this technique won't work for you. So when we click on OK, we get this kind of a table which has the data pivoted by the column description. But this tends to become slow on huge datasets, and we will now show you our technique that hopefully will also improve your performance of the dataset. So of the dataset import or refresh. So let's remove this step. And the first thing we need to do, we need to group by the columns that need to remain stable. So we will group by these three columns, and we will add a new column name called pivot data, and we will choose the operation all rows. After we do this, we will create a nested list of tables or a nested tables in a column that consists of all the values corresponding these three arguments with the description and the value column holding the values that we need to pivot. So in other words, we do not need any other column except for this one, for these two. So what we can do, we can filter those columns out. How? Let's observe the formula bar about the table. Specifically, let's check this each underscore syntax. This underscore holds these nested tables, and we can use this underscore to manipulate them. So what we can do, we can choose to select only certain columns from the nested table. So let's say that we want to select only description. We have to write them in a list. So we want to select only description and value columns from the nested table. After we confirm, now we have only two columns. Next thing we want to do, we want to transpose this table so that we get the values of the description all in separated columns. So we would use the table dot transpose function, and after we confirm, now the data is transposed. The last thing we need to do, we need to get those names in row 1 into column headers. The function is table promote headers. Table promote headers, and we will nest it inside of headers like this. And now we receive the properly formatted data ready to be expanded into columns. The last thing we need to do, we need to click on this expand button. Now there is a kind of the Power Query does not understand that we created those changes or alternations to the regular function of group. So when we try to expand, we receive the names of the previous data before we did all those nested transformations. But what we can do, we can choose just a single column, confirm it, and then we have to manually change the names of the columns that we wish to expand. So we will manually write width, the name of the columns, width, height, and length. And we also need to do that in this part of the function. After we confirm, we get those columns expanded. This is kind of harder technique, but in certain occasions it can really boost up the speed of the refresh. In our case, it boosted up around 50%. So yeah, this is the technique. Hope you liked it. I think the best part of this video is the part when we explain this underscore symbol and the way you can easily manipulate those nested tables. So yeah, if you have any questions, post it down below. If you like the video, please hit like, subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video. Bye.